Because if you're in a relationship and you're betrayed by someone, then it's pretty damn clear that you didn't know where you were. Now, it's also then clear you don't know where you're going, and also that you probably don't know what you're doing. So that's very painful. But it's in human relationships in particular, I think, that you find out how fragile your conceptions of the present actually are, and that you're not dealing with the world. You're dealing with a very oversimplified and presupposition-based conception of the world. You know, because maybe you think your partner loves you and is trustworthy. And maybe you think all people are trustworthy, you know, because you're naive. And then you find out, well, if that's love, you don't want any of it. And they're not trustworthy. And then what the hell? It's like, well, you don't know where you are. You don't know where you're going. You probably don't know who you are anymore. You certainly don't know who the hell that person is. And because you don't know who they are, or you are, then maybe you don't know who anyone is. And so one of the things that I've thought for a substantial amount of time is that you can think about that like this. When you're thinking about the structure of the world. And one element of the structure is that there's the place, those are two serpents, by the way. I just found out about that recently. Two snakes, a very common mythological motif. They represent, this is Tao, right, from the Taoist, from Taoism and from the Taoist thinkers. And Tao basically means something like being, or something like the way, which is like the path of life. And it's more phenomenological than scientific. What it's basically saying is that your experience is composed of two domains, always, necessarily. One domain is the orderly domain. And the orderly domain is the place where, when you act, what you expect happens. Or more precisely, it's the place where, when you act, what you want happens. And that's orderly because you understand it well enough so that the snakes don't escape when you walk forward. You know, your limited preconceptions are sufficient so that they map onto the environment as it emerges as you act. That's an orderly place. And fine, that's not a bad place, you know. It's like you want most of your experience to be that kind of place, because otherwise it's just too overwhelming, right? But the problem with order is that you can have too much order.